And speaking of lockers, here's another guy that probably got stuffed in one when he was in high school. Jungle Boy comes out and enters and starts to talk. And before he gets 2 words out, music interrupts him, thank goodness. And here came Sammy Guevara. And he comes out and he starts to talk, and music interrupts him. And it's Darby, of course. Now we've got the 3 challenging pillars. Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara, and Darby Allin. At least they're doing something on a weekly basis with this, even if it's wrong, as Mama Cornette used to say. I'm going to talk about some good stuff and some bad stuff. With all 3 of these guys in the ring, it's not a great visual when all 3 of them look like unkempt teenagers dressed in grubby, unwashed street clothes. It's not that everybody has to be in a suit, but they just look especially. Darby's gimmick is he's unkempt. I know that. Jungle Boy just looks like he doesn't give a shit. And Sammy could at least look like he's going out to a fucking nightclub somewhere and get away with it, but instead he looks like he's going to a skate park somewhere and getting away with it. And here's what happened, and then I'll talk about why it probably shouldn't have. Darby told Sammy that he was the least qualified of the bunch of them for a title match, because while Darby and Sting treat each other as equals, Jericho doesn't treat him like an equal. He holds him back. So this is their version of a shoot interview. And Darby tells Jungle Boy that Jungle Boy had to work the least hard because he's in the California clique. And he was jealous at first of Jungle Boy, but then he realized that nothing about Jungle Boy intimidates him at all. And then Jungle Boy, oh my fucking God. The sounds you heard from the Tampa, St. Petersburg area was Eddie Graham spinning in his grave to the point where Florida almost became its own fucking continent. And then Jungle Boy came back at Darby Allin and told him that, well, I see these kids out here painting their faces like you. Yes, I don't see any of the kids out there wearing fucking loincloths like Jungle Boy. Do you? There's probably a fucking statute against that anyway, kids in loincloths. But nevertheless, kids paint their faces like you, but Darby Allin, if they knew who you really are like we do, you're antisocial, you're unfriendly, and you're rude to people that are not as cool as you. And Darby's there because you didn't want to be here to begin with. You didn't make it as a skateboarder. Oh my fucking God. I don't know where to start as a former booker, matchmaker, agent, producer, talent scout, instructor / promo trainer. My God. What they've done is they've accentuated in trying to do a shoot promo that all the smart fans will think, oh, they've accentuated every single negative quality of 2 of their alleged baby faces, and Sammy, who knows what the fuck he is, including himself at this point, because he switches back and forth from fucking heel to babyface in mid promo multiple times over trying to pull this shit off somehow. And I ain't even got to him yet speaking, but just so far. For one thing, Jungle Boy, as we've mentioned, is where Jungle Boy's going to be. And it's just, that's fine. I'm not saying set fire to him, but he shouldn't be in this picture. It's confusing the issue. And Sammy is the one least qualified for a title match for the shoot reasons that they just told us. So it should be Darby being built and programmed with a single-minded focus to fucking take MJF down for the Ric Flair kiss stealing, wheeling, dealing, and Dusty Rhodes son of a plumber everyman dichotomy that we fucking spoke of last week. But instead, they're tearing. And again, Darby, they've got something. They've got something with him. The kids paint their faces like him. He's got the charisma. He can make the fucking diving, flipping shit. He uses his body as a weapon, and he should be the one doing the majority of that in the company instead of everybody. And it'd mean even more. And you can draw money with this fucking guy. So this mid-card, at best, babyface with the personality of coleslaw, not even the vinegar kind, just the fucking prickly, tasteless white kind, says you're antisocial, you're unfriendly and rude to people, not as cool as you are, when his whole thing is wrapped up in all the kids, the uncool kids want to be the outsiders, the misfits. They want to be like this guy. Well, he don't like them if they ain't cool. And you don't like wrestling. You just did it because you flunked out as a skateboarder. I'm not sure how you fail as a skateboarder. I don't know how many job openings there are for skateboarders, but
well, endorsements.
Once you've become a skateboarder, where do you go to hire on to be a skateboarder?
Well, it's not like that. You have to illustrate your skills on the open field and
completely for free and risk breaking your fucking neck before somebody will pay you because you didn't break your neck yet.
He seems good at that.
The point is, they're tearing down their only attraction with this fucking insistence on stealing a Japanese angle because there were 4 pillars in the company of New Japan in 1990, whatever, that now there have to be 4 pillars, even though this is the most fucking lopsided fucking 4-legged table I've ever seen in my life. And then Jungle Boy actually put Sammy over more than he did as a person and a wrestler than Darby Allin, but then still called him a scumbag piece of shit, and shit got bleeped. Remember, that's a theme we're going to go through the program here. And then Sammy tore down Jungle Boy and Darby because both of them were handpicked to be in their spots, and then he bitched because they weren't booked on a pay-per-view or he wasn't, and Sammy's promo was more babyface than the other guys at one point and he tried to fire up and walked away from the people he was talking to talk to the hard camera to try to get. Here's what I wrote. This is a psychological mess, not helping any of the 3. Inside, mealy-mouthed complaining. 3 guys who don't know how to verbally take care of themselves or the others, whining at each other with bad material. Your thoughts?
Yes, I would agree with all that. It was utterly fascinating watching it. Darby, it seems, is getting more and more confident on the mic.
Yes.
And I like Darby, but I feel like everyone needs a cap of 30 seconds or 45 seconds or something. Everyone gave a long speech. Jungle Boy is not fitting in this at all to me. He gets the pop because he comes out first and people like to wave their arms to his music, and not even that many people. Usually the camera has to find people, and it's like 3 people sitting next to each other waving their arms around. And Sammy, I think, has been pretty good in this. Darby had something great going with MJF last week, so let's do this. I don't disagree with what you said before, but to make this a little bit of a bigger question, and I know I'm not the only one feeling this way because I'm now starting to see things and we're starting to get emails even about it. They did something similar to this a few weeks back with all 4 of them in the ring. A few weeks back, maybe a month back, I don't know. Now this. The ring ropes all of a sudden are red, white, and blue. It's starting to feel more and more like WWE. Like WWE Raw in the, I don't want to say in the mid-90s just because of the ropes, but it's starting to feel more WWE-like in terms of opening up with, I didn't even look, you would know, 15, 20 minutes of these guys just one after another.
It was 15. It seemed like 45, but it was 15.
You understand what I'm saying? No, it's starting to feel like a different show than AEW has always been. I don't know if that's the influence of the new producer that they brought in or just, this is what they think it should look like. But I don't know. That's the other thing. It's starting to feel like a different company in some of these segments. I shouldn't say that, but
Well, no, I see what you mean, but let's clarify, not content, formatting wise, concept wise, maybe, but not content wise, because I don't remember a WWF or WWE program ever starting out with 3 allegedly top talents being utilized in a prominent position, coming out and listing each other's drawbacks and unqualifications for why they shouldn't be there. When you've got 3 guys that all want a title shot, usually they're coming at it from the direction of, I deserve this. It's a foregone conclusion that they feel that they deserve it, and they deserve it more than each other, not I'm the only one that deserves it because you people have been given your spot handed by the promoter or picked by the whatever the fuck, and talking about the legitimate bad qualities that the only popular babyface in the equation has, Darby Allin.
Can you imagine if they did this like in the 80s? And they said, go out there and do you cheat on your wife and do drugs everywhere. Oh, yeah? Well, you have a girlfriend in every town and you're sleeping with Pat Patterson. Like, it would have just been a ridiculous mess.
There would have been literally legitimate fistfights 2 minutes into promos if they had done this, the equivalent of this to each other. Yes. But anyway, then after all that happens, MJF comes out and blisters all 3 of them and announces the Pillars Tournament, where the winner will face MJF for the title at Double or Nothing. He pulls a name out of a hat. A production assistant comes, brings him a hat with the names that he calls for. And he pulls a name out of the hat, and it's Darby Allin. So Darby gets the bye in the first round, and Sammy and Jungle Jack Boy have to face each other tonight to determine who gets Darby. And here's another, they bleeped MJF saying that the production assistant that came out, it looked like he had pubic hair glued to his face. And then he said shit that they plainly didn't bleep or even didn't try to bleep. There's things going on with the language on the program now. I'm having a feeling they get a certain number of shits or goddams approved, and if it's not on the list, they're trying to bleep this shit. But anyway, it took us 15 minutes to get there. And again, if they're trying to appeal to young people, this looks like in this case, it looked like 3 teenage fucking skateboarding wrestlers, arguing with each other. But it didn't do anything for any of them, especially Darby. I thought is hurt the worst just by having to go through this. Instead of, if they'd have taken the same energy that they've spent trying to shoehorn Jungle Perry and Sammy into this thing in having a coherent, focused push for Darby as a underdog, defying all odds, winning getting a big singles victory, and then maybe another 2 or 3 weeks after that out of the blue, and verbal interaction that Darby and MJF have had already could have been figured into and you'd be building a money match instead of this fucking foolishness.
If they do this, I guess 2-week tournament or whatever this is to build up to the pay-per-view and still end up with a 4-way, is it worth it to do all this?
No, God, no.
So they definitely can't do that.
If they end up with a 4-way, then Jesus Christ, that will be a 4-way with all these jokers will not sell as well as MJF and Darby with a story and a reason and people caring about it. Then it's going to be the same audience that already buys whatever they buy or whatever they sell that just wants to see 4 guys diving off a fucking ladder. But they've got national television and they've got weeks, and they would have an opportunity to do something like what Punk did. What maybe they've done a time or two before is get the people that don't normally buy the shit, that just watch it for free, but say, you know what? They've got me with this one. I might want to see this. I'll spend fucking whatever. The cock is free now, so I might as well pay for the pussy. Anyway.
What?